Hello, good day. It's time for our market updates again, perhaps after 2 weeks. Because lately there had been not much any significant movement, but certainly there are news every now and then. Let's hit it. Okay. So this is as of July 29, last Friday, and it's been our seventh month, of the year that went by, and we'll start off with our PSEI, of course. And you would notice at present, PSEI is at about 6.3, 6.315, and somehow the moving averages that you see, just the green line, is hovering on top of the price, which tells us that somehow the price is actually on weaker ground more than it actually being strong. So to affirm that is our MACD that has been lingering below the center line, which is zero. So that somehow tells us that the market is still relatively weak. However, what is important right now is that somehow the market has develop what we call a base between 6,100 and 6,400, which is right now the current range. And it's been there since about 5 weeks now, and still continuing. So definitely the resistance would be at about 6,400, 6,480 thereabouts, for us to be able to say that the market is going to be on an upward mode. Because for one, if we will if we will connect the highs of the market, it's still sloping downwards. But definitely we are seeing somehow a very strong support at 6.1, and definitely a very strong psychological support at 6,000 level. So market is most likely going to move sideways with a little bias definitely to move within that range and break out of that range soon, perhaps in the next quarter or so. Okay. On the other hand, if we look at the peso dollar exchange rate, somehow it has stopped off at about 56, 54, which was somehow the previous high, during the 2004, 2005 crisis, in the forex market. So we can say that it is actually, doing what we call a double top formation, although it seems like it is an ascending triangle, which is, pointing upwards. But until it breaks the resistance of 56, 54, or to close above 57, that's the only time we would say that, the market or the peso will continue to weaken. For now, if it's going to come down, it would be somewhere at about 49 level, to about the psychological 50 peso level. The MACD, although it is moving upwards, you would notice that it's quite reluctant in pursuing higher grounds. So that in itself is showing some hesitation, for the market to move further. And the next 2 to 3 weeks will be quite crucial for the momentum, of the peso versus the dollar. So the dollar is getting strong primarily because the US had been increasing interest rates, and that they will continue to do so. So the dollar is now commanding a higher yields in terms of interest rates. That's why most likely the tendency is for people to to convert into dollars more than any other currency. More so, it's a special. It's a safe haven, currency. Locally, we had our inflation rate registered at about 6.1%. Last month, I think for the month of uh, June. Okay, and this might have alarmed our monetary board to increase interest rates as well, and hopefully it will come to a halt very soon. Approaching the 7% level. So what contributes to inflation is definitely the price of crude oil. Well, somehow it has been going down, the past 2 months, settling below $100 per barrel already after registering a high of about 130 to about $120 per barrel. And somehow it's already somehow on the way down. And you would notice that the moving averages starts to hover on top of the price, which is a good sign that it's going to simmer a little bit. But of course, if it breaks above perhaps 105 again, that's a time we can say that it would be on an upward mode again. So it has to break through perhaps 95 or 90 level for us to say that it would possibly on its way down to perhaps settle somewhere between 70 and $80 per barrel area. For now, there is some sort of a little bit of support, and somehow there is a potential rebound. But on the other hand, the low MACD suggests that the commodity is into some more weakness, more than strength. In overseas, the US has declared, officially that they are in recession, although President Biden is not, accepting the idea. But textbook wise, we can say that after two successive quarters of a contraction, in their GDP, that suggests that it's a technical recession, just like what we have seen, at the onset of the pandemic 2 years ago, wherein the U.S. economy also went to a halt because of, very high COVID cases and registered two successive quarters of contraction in terms of their GDP. But of course, they were able to bounce back, towards the last quarter of the 2020, you know, uh, after which, a vaccine was already developed by that time. So this time around, while there is a contraction, it is not as much as the one we have seen before the pandemic, but just the same, this spells some concern, with authorities, with the Fed authorities, more so that the inflation is actually on its 40-year high, at 9.1%. Okay, at 9.1%, this has eclipsed, I think, the record set in 1981. So at about 8%, 8.1%, and this is quite the concern for uh, for the monetary officials in the U.S. And as such, you know, um, while the economy is contracting, it is fueled by high inflation, of course, due to the to the uptick of oil, and of course to the surge of spending. But just the same, they also have the problem with their unemployment. So it's kind of a mixed signals, but this is a um, a situation wherein they are stagnating and there is a high inflation. So definitely the way to go would be uh, high interest rates. And with the high interest rates, dollar gets boosted, so dollar gets strong. So then the U.S. goods become more expensive, and therefore competitiveness is going to be, a concern, for the U.S. goods in the global market. But what does the market showing? You know, the Dow Jones over the past 6 weeks had been on an upward tick, on a rebound, which is way ahead of the announcement of the recession. So, but then, unknown to many, the stock market index is actually a leading indicator, which means it is going ahead of what is happening, in the economy. So, if there is a recession somehow, perhaps it has been factored in as much as about 2 months ago. Okay, wherein the market is already expecting that. And when the market learned about the real situation that indeed there is a recession, and it starts going up, so that's what possibly will mystify many traders, in the market. And you would notice that somehow the MACD, while it's at the bottom, it's showing some signs of a rebound as well and started to cross over. So, but then again, of course, there is such a thing as a resistance that we are seeing right now. Though the trend is still downward, we cannot also discount the possibility that it can turn up, okay, when it breaks this level, about 34,000 points. Okay. Similarly, with the S&P 500, almost the same scenario. Okay, it's on a downward trend since beginning of the year, but somehow it has found its bottom and started rebounding from about 3,700 points on the S&P 500, and it has to break out of the 4,000 level, for us to say that it will be out of the dark already, and definitely it's on its way towards breaking or registering new highs, perhaps after 12 months or in the next 2 3 years. Okay. So that's it for our market updates. And continue to like our page, open your notifications for our posts, subscribe to our YouTube page, the Fast Exchange, for all of these videos. And if you have questions or you would be seeking advice, feel free to write to me, Ricky So at thefastexchange.com. And who knows, I might feature your question, in our succeeding videos. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.